Park in Milwaukee, I'm Greg Hofer. My next guest is a two-time Sportscaster of the Year in Wisconsin. He calls games on CBS, NFL, he calls NCAA tournament games, NBA playoff games for Turner Sports, and he is now entering his 10th year as the television voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. He is Brian Anderson. Brian, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Greg. Great to be with you. Welcome to my domain here.
This is really nice.
TV world.
I like this setup out here.
It's my favorite time of day right now. We're doing this right before batting practice.
Yep.
Stadium's empty, calm before the storm. This is all fun.
And it should be a fun series with the Cardinals.
Yeah, hope so.
To get here was quite a journey for you.
Yeah.
You start in Texas. Now your brother's 5 years older than you, but he a pitcher in the big leagues, pitched for the Reds. You were a catcher. Had to be pretty fun in the backyard.
Yeah, he didn't pitch until he was in high school, and of course that was my formative years as well. So I started catching him during those years. I'm built, as you can see, like a middle infielder. So I was the one kid who could always catch, because I did catch him a lot when I went to high school, and he had already established himself as a professional pitcher at the time. So he's a lot bigger than me too. He's 6'3", goes about 210, 215. So I'm just a little guy. So I had to fight for everything I had. I always say I got the good looks though. And he got the brawn, I got the brain. But no, he's doing great. He's still in baseball. He's a scout with the Texas Rangers, and real proud of him. When he made it to the major leagues from a tryout camp, he signed out of a tryout camp with the Cincinnati Reds. He was not drafted. When he made it to the major leagues, it was a huge ceiling that he busted through for me, my family, and it's interesting. There's been a lot of cousins. There's various members of our family that have all done some pretty cool things in their lives. A lot of them are entertainers, musicians, and I think Mike, he set a great example for the rest of us, certainly for me.
And you go to Georgetown High School. Mason Crosby, Taylor Youngman,
Yes.
Corey Knable. Some pretty good alumni walking through the halls of Georgetown, which I believe has about 1,700 students.
Yeah, and it was a much smaller school when I was there. Those guys you mentioned are a lot younger than me. Mason, I think Mason's probably maybe the biggest celebrity from that high school, and he's had a great career in the NFL, and we're all real proud of him. I don't really even know Mason that well. I was already long gone when he got to high school, but Georgetown pride is there. Art Briles was my high school football coach, actually, and up until this recent situation in Waco with the Baylor Bears, he had really done well for himself as well. So yeah, Georgetown's a really cool place just outside Austin. Much smaller town when I was there than it is now. Austin's kind of just grown into Georgetown, so it feels like a much bigger city these days. But it was a great place to grow up.
Now, obviously, I know you're a golfer. Obviously, you love baseball.
Yeah.
You're from Texas, so you must have played football. But any other sports that growing up as a kid that you played?
I played them all. I didn't golf much when I was a kid. I didn't really start that until my latter years in college. But I played football. You almost have to. You're right. When you grow up in Texas, you almost have to play football. And I enjoyed the games. I hated the practices. Texas high school football practice is just a nightmare. It's 100 degrees, and it was really rough. But I did enjoy those Friday night lights, that's for sure. And played basketball. I did not play for the school team, but I played a lot of basketball. I didn't have time to play football and baseball and add a third sport, so I ended up playing just football and baseball. So, but we played a lot of pickup games, a lot of pickup basketball, and so yeah. And then I ended up playing golf when I was in college. So I played all the sports. I swam a little bit, and I think all of those matter. And it's interesting that my career's kind of taken this path where I'm broadcasting a lot of these sports, and it just seems really natural to me. And people ask me all the time, well, which sport do you like better? And for me, it's always I like the sport I'm doing. I enjoy the sport of sport, and the competition that I get to see is really cool, and on the stage I get to see it. So yeah, I enjoy all the sports, and I played them all growing up, so it's a lot of fun to carry that over.
And then after high school, you go off to St. Mary's, just a short drive away. You play on the baseball team there for the Rattlers, and Coach Charlie Miguel.
Yeah, Charlie Miguel, yeah.
How did you enjoy your time playing baseball there?
Well, that was a great spot for me, San Antonio. That's kind of where I came out of my shell. I had gone to Southwestern first, which is the school my brother went to. Mike Timlin's from Southwestern, former big leaguer. Mike Stanton went there. And that was in my hometown of Georgetown, and I really had no direction. I just kind of did whatever my brother did. So I was a business major. I took all the same classes he took when he was at Southwestern. He's a lot smarter than I was, actually, and he made a lot better grades. But I really didn't have the passion for my future or what I may do. I didn't feel like I wanted to be an accountant. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into business. Nothing really motivated me. I played baseball. I did enjoy that, and I made decent grades. But it wasn't until I got to San Antonio and went to St. Mary's that I found what I was looking for, and that was broadcast journalism. And so I instantly majored in English communications, and I lost 21 hours when I transferred, but I was so committed to going to school there and learning how to be a broadcast journalist that I was willing to lose the 21 hours. It cost me an extra semester, which I wouldn't recommend for all of you out there. I did have a scholarship, but I did have to pay for that last semester. And I just, at that moment, I knew I was focused on this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. Our baseball team was really good. We were the #1 team in the nation in NAIA ball at the time. We had 3 players drafted off our team. One of them has Wisconsin ties, Mike Zalecki, who was the head coach at Cardinal Stritch for many years. So we had a nice little connection there. We had a great baseball team, and most importantly for me, we shared the stadium, our stadium, we shared with the minor league baseball team in the Texas League, the San Antonio Missions. And that alone is what set my career on its path, because I knew all them, they knew me. We pulled tarp for them. We worked on the grounds crew. We chased down home run balls with the AA Dodgers, and that was a really important moment in my life when I got to St. Mary's and started to get focused on what I wanted to do with my life.
And they say catchers make great managers.
Yes.
You're a catcher?
Right.
They
Tools of brilliance, we say.
Great broadcasters. Catchers make great broadcasters.
Yeah.
Does it help you in any way? Being a former catcher?
Absolutely, and of course Rock, Bill Schroeder, my partner, caught in the big leagues, and that's important for that role he serves. But for me, I'm not gonna go on the air and give my opinion on things, even though I probably know the answer to a lot of things, because I didn't play in the major leagues, and I'll never have that perspective. But it does help me ask the right questions. It helps me lead Bill to the right thought, because I know he's thinking about something. And if you watch the Brewers, we spend a lot of time on the catching game, on the catchers, and I think it's really important. I think it's the most important position on the field other than the pitcher. And I'd say a great catcher like a Jonathan Lucroy, who can hit a little bit, is actually more valuable than a starting pitcher because of what he brings to the table. So we spend a lot of time on the catching game, and that gives me great pride and great pleasure to do that. And it's fun to have a former major league catcher that I can sit with every night, and we can have that back and forth banter.
Now, after you leave college, you're already there in San Antonio. The Missions and the Spurs.
Right.
Pretty good place to start your career.
That was it, and it wasn't, like I said, we shared the field with the baseball team, the Missions, the AA Dodgers at the time, and they were soon to be moving into a new stadium. So the year I graduated, the next season, I graduated in 93, 94, they were moving into a brand new ballpark, and they were going to ramp up their production, they were going to ramp up all of their broadcasting, and it was a perfect storm. I happened to just fit right in there. So I was very lucky. I was 22 years of age, and I got a AA job, and normally you have to kind of start in rookie ball, and you have to sell time, and you have to do all kind of different things to actually get on the air. You have to do various other things. I didn't have to do that. I'd already worked a couple of years with the Spurs as a handheld cameraman. Did you know that? I was a cameraman.
I didn't.
So I when I was in college, I was a cameraman. I sat right below the goal, right below the hoop, and I ran handheld and did that for Spurs television. So I'd already had a little bit of a background in the Missions like that. I'd also spent some time working for Monday Night Football in graphics. I was a runner. And so I'd seen kind of the best level of broadcasting from afar. I was in the truck as a like I said, a runner, PA, production assistant. And so I'd had all these experiences, and it worked really well for the minor league baseball team, because the more you can do, the better. And I jumped right into that job, and I thought I would be in and out of there quickly. I actually got an interview for a major league job after my first year with the Padres, and I didn't get it. I ended up staying 9 years in the minor leagues, and so I suffered through 9 years, but it was really a great experience. It was important for me to do that, and then I started to use that experience on the air to get into Spurs broadcasting, get away from the handheld job, and move on the air in front of the camera. And it was a nice fit. It was a nice match, and I was able to do both for a number of years.
And then you head off to the Golf Channel. Now, beyond the obvious perks of, I'm sure, free golf at some amazing courses,
yes.
How did that help you develop as a broadcaster?
Well, I think the most important thing, I'll say this, and I don't shy from it at all, but that job was the most significant moment in my career once I started, because two things. It helped stabilize my family. My wife was able to quit working. She was a school teacher. She had taught for 10 years. And it was the first time I'd ever made any money. It was the first time I'd made six figures, and it was a legitimate big-time job. And I thought I could just die in that job when I got that position. So I worked 25 events a year. It was a grueling schedule. We would travel out on a Monday. We would be there Tuesday through Sunday. Maybe get to go home on a Monday, travel the next Tuesday morning, and we'd do 3-4 weeks at a time. But it did give me an off season, and I was able to maintain the Spurs job, and so it gave me real depth, and it put me on camera 4 days a week for 25 weeks. So I got 100 days on camera in front of an audience, having to get better at my craft. I felt like I was pretty dialed in with play-by-play and watching plays happen, using my vocabulary, my words, and my mind, could think about the game the right way. But the thing I didn't have much experience in is staring at that camera and delivering a message to an audience. And we've come on camera 3-4 times in a broadcast, and I really needed that. So that was a huge breakthrough in my career, and my wife was able to stay home. We had a baby at the time. My young daughter was able to stay home, didn't have to go to daycare, which we had to do early in her life, and so it was a life-changing moment for me.
And that leads you to Milwaukee, where you've been the last 10 years, working with Bill Schroeder. Now, obviously, the chemistry comes through the television. How important is chemistry to broadcast?
Well, I think it's huge, and you got to work at it. For me, you got to really work hard to create chemistry. It's easy to be friends with somebody, and I'm very good friends with Bill Schroeder. But it's like a marriage, and you have to look out for his needs and the things that he sees and constantly ask him. And it's not just about broadcasting what we see on the field here. It's got a lot to do with life and how he's doing in his life and his family. He's a granddad now, and so it's all those little things. I care about them, and you have to care about people that you're working with. And it's not just Bill Schroeder. It's our producer, director. It's the guys that work in the truck, our audio guys, video guys, and guys who do graphics, guys and girls. And so it's important to create that family atmosphere. And I care about them. I care about them as pros. I respect their artistry for their craft, and I think they care about me. And that's why I think it does show up with Bill and I on the air, but I think there's so much more to it that people don't realize, that has a lot to do with why our broadcasts click, and that's why I feel like we can go on for a long, long time. And I'm the longest tenured play-by-play guy. He used to run everybody off after 5 years, so I'm the longest tenured play-by-play guy, television play-by-play guy that they've had here, and have no designs on leaving, going anywhere, and just really happy to be a part of it.
And they say timing is everything. And when I look back on your career, St. Mary's was just now coming into prominence from a baseball program. The Spurs dynasty was just starting under Pop.
That's right.
And then the Brewers, their resurgence happened just that. I mean, you're like a
good luck charm.
Good luck charm.
All right, I'll take it. I'm not, but as long as I'm not the bad luck charm, right? I mean, you're right. You're right. The mission situation changed a great deal when I got there, and a lot of people had suffered through that. And of course, I was there for the Spurs' first world title, 1999, and never thought the Spurs were ever going to get past the Lakers. And then, there was the Suns, and it was just one of the greatest moments to see the Spurs win, to be able to cover that team. And And they appreciated me so much. Instead of giving me a ring, they gave me a measly watch. But no, it was fun. I was there for the first 3 titles in San Antonio. And then, of course, 07, the Brewers were in the pennant race. 08, they made it. Won the division in 2011. And we're in this rebuild mode now. I hope soon they can get back.
Taking it from a local, regional type broadcast to a national broadcast, what are the challenges that you face going to a national stage that you might not face locally?
Well, I think the familiarity, you're working with people that when you do 150 Brewers games, you pretty well know everybody's rhythm, right? And then when you go to a national broadcast, even though the people that I work with there are the same people since 2008 for the most part, you're only doing maybe 30 a year. So there's these long layoffs, and I think that's the hardest part, just to change the elements inside your head. And this is not the normal voice I'm hearing, and your habits have to be checked, and which is a good thing, I think. And so obviously when you're doing a national broadcast, you have to make sure you're celebrating success, whether that be somebody if I had to do the Brewers the first couple times I did it. I did the Phillies and the Brewers was the first national broadcast I did, and you had to celebrate the success of the Phillies just like you celebrated success. It's usually up to the analyst to be critical, and then I would try to get up for those big moments, and that's really the difference. When you're doing a Brewers game and the other team has success, you're putting that in context of the Brewers, because the Brewers fans, that's what they want to hear. Doesn't mean you can't celebrate a great play and raise your voice a little bit, but if I'm going to raise my voice to a 6 on a great play by Matt Holliday of the Carpenters, or a big home run, I'm certainly going to take that to a 9 or a 10 if it's a playoff scenario on a national network. So those are all the things you think about, and it does change. There's a definite change, but I'm very thankful to be doing both. And the national network has certainly made me a better broadcaster. It's I've done games in front of 20 million viewers at a time, and when you think about the massiveness of a network broadcast, you feel confident that you can do that, and you can trust your vocabulary and trust your ad lib and your prep and the ability to deliver what you see. And so that's a really important piece to a play-by-play broadcaster, because there was a lot of years, even while I was here, that you never really know if you're ready for that big moment. And now I feel like I am, because I've done so many.
There's very few broadcasters that have ever done the amount. I mean, baseball, basketball, golf, football, and on a national stage. The thing that really fascinates me is the stark contrast between baseball and basketball.
Right.
I think that's a fascinating, dichotomy of broadcasting.
Yeah, and then there's a completely different style. The day's different. When you show up to the arenas, different. An NBA game on TNT, I'll get to the arena literally an hour and a half before the game. Baseball game, I'll be here 3, sometimes 4 hours before first pitch. It's just a little different. There's a lot different pace. There's speed involved. The game is much faster. So as a play-by-play man, your hits are really quick little nuggets, and I have to ramp myself up to be able to call a play, drop a nugget, leave space for my partner. Baseball, there's a little more of a meandering feel to it, where you can get into stories, and you're still, in our business, we're pushing toward the analyst. We want the analyst to be the star, and so that doesn't change in any sport you do. But the way you weave that in is way different. Football is different. Football is very rhythmic. Basketball, it's very quick. And in the NBA, the action can happen so fast. I mean, if LeBron James gets the ball on a rebound down here, it's going to take him 3 seconds to get over here. So you better be ready to make that call. And you see things a lot differently. Baseball, we're up here just mechanically. We're up looking down. Basketball, you're down looking straight across. So those are all adjustments that you have to make, and remind yourself that this is a different sport, and this is what I do.
Or looking down in the corner at a Bronson Koenig 3, right?
Yes.
Here we go. 2 to go. Trip to the Sweet 16. Koenig's got it. Rises up. The shot. And it's good! It's good! Wisconsin has won it!
I'm glad it was in the opposite corner, because I was able to see that one. Unlike Steph Curry in the playoffs, when Steph Curry went down to this corner, And I had to just look at it on a little monitor because everybody was standing up. I couldn't see it, but I was very glad Bronson took that ball into the corner where I could see him, and that was a great moment. I mean, that's one of the one of the top 5 moments of my broadcasting career, to be able to be a part of that, witness that, but put a call on that, and then to have it as a Wisconsin guy was really special.
And lastly, just kind of out of curiosity, when is the book coming out? Because there's
No
got to
book.
be a book coming. Roy Halladay no-hitter on a national stage, the Braun home run out back here in 08.
You should write the book.
Koenig three-pointer. I mean, it's just, hey, it'd be a heck of a read.
Well, you know, my partner has a book called "If These Walls Could Talk." I'm not pictured in the book, but it's a great book, and I figure it's one book per decade for a Brewers broadcaster. No, I don't want. If I write a book, I feel like then I'm going to be looking back, and I'm not at that point in my career where I want to look back just yet. I feel like I have a lot to do, and then I'm not saying there won't be a book one day, but I'll let you write the book and you tell the stories, and I'm glad I have those memories, and I got a lot of memorabilia for those specific moments too, and just being there and having those calls, on video and have access to those and be able to check those out every now and then. It's still pretty cool for me to say, oh, that's my voice on that. That's awesome. So that's all I need.
You do great work and continued success, and
Thanks,
thanks
Greg.
so much for the time.
Thank you, buddy. My pleasure, man.
Right.
Good seeing you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to my booth.
Hey, it's my
Those
pleasure.
lights are bright,
Great.
aren't they?
They are very bright. That's Brian Anderson. Our thanks to Brian. This is Greg Hofer saying thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.